aspirations, your likings in a strategic manner, not in a full stop comma types manner, but in a strategic manner. The overall feel that you want, the overall audience that you are going to target, you want to target, what product you want to sell, what impression you want to convey. These are the areas where you have to give a very clear picture to the architect, to the web designer, and then leave the job to them, right? My company is 14 years old, and we might have done 6,000 websites so far, small, big, all put together. And at least in 30% of the cases, somebody from my team comes and tells me, sir, इन्होंने अपने इनपुट्स थोड़े कम दिए होते तो हम बहुत ज़्यादा काम अच्छा नहीं कर सकते थे, ऐसा नहीं लगता है आपको? You know, so the creative freedom has to be given to the people who are doing their job, right? You have all the right, it is your website, but there is a larger role to be played somewhere else, and that is the focus area where users should play a role. It is the content. Content is the king. Design is overrated. I am saying this with as much authority a 14-year-old experience can give me, that nobody buys a product just because the site was very nice. Okay, I mean, I can have a wonderful website, and if I am selling engineering components that you don't need, I am absolutely sure you're not going to buy them, right? So design has a role to play, 50% role to play. The other 50% is the data, which the designer or the service provider cannot do anything about. If it is your industry, your inputs are very critical there. Please provide your inputs there. Tell the provider what you're trying to sell, who is the potential client. Let him work through that and let him build a better website. Both art and engineering need a very singular vision, and that is why if you see globally, bigger companies, larger companies, large corporates have more problems in their websites than home run, proprietary run businesses, because the decision making is fast, vision is singular. If I am the owner of the business, the provider has to only convince me, one person. If I have to convince a committee, all having different taste, it becomes even more difficult job, right? And the chances are that the overall outcome at the end of the game is going to be compromised if a committee is supposed to decide as opposed to a one person deciding, right? That is why freelancers and home office owners get better results from websites than corporates do. Don't take away the creative freedom of the designer, as I said. And as you can see the picture, the perfect kind of icon of design is the Opera House of the Sydney, right? It is absolutely functional. It's not there for display. There is opera that happens almost every week there. So it is an iconic building that was built with perfect engineering and perfect design, right? I think after Steve Jobs, everybody is convinced that design has to be functional. It just doesn't have to be good looking, right? This is what you want from a website, right? But if you give this job to a committee, sorry, the committee slide was made by a committee, so we have a hitch there. But anyway, this is how government websites are designed, right? I have a fantastic example, and I am ready for a absolute debate with any government official on how government websites are done in India, at least, right? And I have always wondered how other country governments can come up with better websites despite they being governments, right? One, it goes to the lowest bidder, right? That might be a very great theory for acquiring physical items that you can touch and see and verify. How do you get a design element from the lowest bidder? I fail to understand. I mean, if government was to buy paintings, MF Hussain would be out of business because none of his paintings would be in the top 3 lowest bidders, right? So whenever there is a component of art in it, we have a problem with very classical and legacy methods of acquisition that government has put in place. These methods were there to prevent corruption, to make sure that the government can procure items at the lowest possible cost, and they were very fine and super methods as far as physical goods were concerned in classical old days. In this modern day and age, where something is very complicated to be acquired and it also has a touch of art in it, creativity in it, the method of acquiring it from the lowest bidder just doesn't hold any sense to me, at least. It is process led. They have a process in place. They want to follow the process. It is not result oriented, right? So these are the shortcomings that come into play. I had the most classical example which you can take home today and actually spend 5 minutes on this, ponder upon it, is the website of IRCTC versus the website of ClearTrip, right? Just open 2 of these websites. They are trying to sell exactly the same thing, right? ClearTrip also provides ticket booking for railways. It is at the back end connected to IRCTC. But if IRCTC is the sole back end and even ClearTrip is using IRCTC back end, how can they come up with a uncluttered, unconfusing, uncomplicated, so simple, innovative front end to it, which the government somehow is not able to, right? Is that the lower bidder theory, or let's make it in-house theory? I have no idea. But something is definitely wrong. Booking ticket on IRCT is, I mean, okay, there are 3 top punishments in the world, okay? One is to be sent to Guantanamo Bay, and second probably being shot by a firing squad, and third is booking a ticket on IRCTC. I will give you an example. My dad is approximately 70 years old, and he's afraid of computers, like many 70 years old. I don't blame him. He's from a different generation. Every time he wanted to book a ticket, he would tell me that beta ye ticket book karwa do, and I would go on IRCTC and book it for him. This went on for a few years, and then came 2 items, one iPad and 2 ClearTrip. Now it's difficult to catch him. I don't know where he is because he doesn't need me to book the tickets. iPad Simplified, that fearsome face of computer that was there, it made it more portable, approachable, handy, innovative concept. There was no market for iPad. That is what most people said. I mean, we have computers and we have mobile. Why do we want something in between? Look where we are, right? And IRCTC was killed by ClearTrip. I mean, at least half of its business at least was killed. Now my dad books tickets on ClearTrip. He's a pro, right? He knows everything by heart as far as ClearTrip is concerned. He books the same ticket. The tickets are booked by the government. The same, when you book the ticket, it goes and sits in IRCTC database record. But even then, something that was not possible for him has now become possible. Why? Because somebody went ahead and simplified it, uncluttered it, unconfused it, right? That is the power of design. That is the power of design. You do not need to tell us about tenders of railway on the IRCT site. Please make another website domain for it. I mean, for railwaytenders.com for it. Why are you confusing people who want to travel from Delhi to Hyderabad by showing them tender notices on the same website? I don't know how to tell this to the government. This process has to change somehow. Anyway, enough of government bashing. This is not just the case with the government. This is the case with many corporate websites, many privately owned businesses. because they got lost somewhere. They took the wrong path to design the website somewhere, and they complicated their website, right? Simplicity is the key. People often complain once they make a website after 6 months, 8 months, whenever there is a renewal of domain or hosting that is supposed to happen, they say, यार इसमें से कोई बिजनेस मिलता नहीं है. Now, when you ask them कि इसमें से बिजनेस नहीं मिलता है, उसको एक साइड रखते हैं. What do you want from a website? Can you write 5 sentences or 3 sentences on what is your expectation from the website? They are lost. They have no idea. Website cannot give you business. Website can bring in inquiries, at least for the B2B model. For B2C model, it can bring business, of course. So, do you have a written agenda for what you want from the website? If no, that is the first step. Think hard, 3 lines. All you have to do is write 3 lines. Write them in, don't write them in English, write them in Telugu for God's sake. Just write them. Be clear about what you want from the website, and then the website can deliver that for you. Some people argue that I don't need a website, right? Or the website doesn't give me business, right? For example, if Maruti Udyog was to tell me that, I mean, website 2-4 दिन बंद रहा तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है, वैसे भी गाड़ी थोड़ी यहाँ से बिकने वाली है. That's wrong. People decide which car to buy on the website. They don't buy it online, right? They decide whether to buy Hyundai Sentro or Maruti Alto on the website. Then they go to respective showrooms for a test trial, and then they buy the car. So actually the decision to buy was made on the website. It is difficult to sometimes quantify the result of the website, but doesn't mean it is not working. Over expectation. People want the hen to deliver an omelette, right? There are further slides that will show you very silly mistakes which are done in most of the websites, and that is how you will understand why they are over expecting out of it. For example, if somebody is doing business locally and now intends to start selling things to other countries, they make a website, then they come, then it doesn't work, then they complain कि वेबसाइट में से बाहर का बिजनेस मिलता है, ऐसा सुनते रहते हैं लेकिन ऐसा होता नहीं है. Now they do not even write +91 in front of their phone number, right? How do you think, if you are trying to sell something to Ukraine, how do you think somebody in Ukraine knows what is the STD ISD code for India? Why do you want him to know? There was a surprising survey conducted 3 years after the 911 incident, where in 100 countries, thousands of people were given the map of America, and they were told to roughly locate where is New York. You would be surprised, more than 50% of the people got it wrong. Now, if 200-story buildings were hit by an aircraft, right? And after that people don't know where is New York, why do you think they will know where is Gujarat? I mean, you go to Tamil Nadu and ask some people, they might not know where is Gujarat. Why do you expect somebody in Ukraine to know where is Gujarat? Or what is the STD code for Baroda, right? So when you write the phone number, you have to assume people from all over the world are going to visit your website. And if you've not done that, please do not expect somebody to send you an inquiry for business. That's very elementary. So, I mean, we are not talking rocket science here. I mean, I have attempted to figure out those minor items that you can actually go home and correct on your websites by today evening perhaps, right? But those 5 items that could actually make a big change in the response that you get from your website. As I said, no one is about to buy a poor product just because the website is wow, right? So, I mean, the design is overrated. I would not say it is not important. It is important, but it is overrated. People think that fantastic looking website which has errors is okay. That's not okay. Let the artist decide the color and layout, and you can worry about the information tabs. 19 out of 20 people don't want to spend money on content writing, but are also incapable of writing even one page of content, right? I very clearly remember reading the biography of Bill Gates, doing business at speed of thought. In one of those books, he had very clearly mentioned that when Microsoft was just in its infancy, the biggest challenge was to convince people that software is a costly thing and you have to spend money on software, because up until that time people thought कि यार टेप रिकॉर्डर आप लेने जाते हो तो साथ में 2-4 कैसेट तो मिलती है ना फ्री में, you know, when you buy a computer, software should come with it bundled. Only later on people realize that it's a versatile machine. How much software can come with it bundled? Everybody has a different need for the computer, so everybody will have to buy different software, and therefore everything cannot be bundled when you buy a computer. That means there has to be something called a software industry that has to come into play, right? That is how the software industry was born. Same way, people think that when I am spending 20,000 rupees on getting a website design, why should I spend anything on content? That has to be bundled, right? Now, the vendor who is designing a website unfortunately sees it in a different way. He thinks he has to focus on the design and the engineering part of it, not the content part of it. He thinks content is your problem, right? You think it is his problem. So then we have a problem. Then we have a content industry that needs to be born. If content is the king, if content is 50% important to your website, as if not more important as the design itself, then you need to spend money on content writing if you cannot do it in-house. And most people cannot do it in-house. Most companies do not have resources to write fantastic English because they have engineers who are busy making valves, you know, butterfly valves, flow control valves. So you have to hire content writers. You have to spend money on it. It is definitely worth it. It is not an optional item, and it is not that comes bundled with the computer or the tape recorder. Okay? It is an item that is a separate entity altogether that needs proper devotion of resources, money and attention. So this is another global problem. I thought India has this problem because we get website orders, we get the advance, the content never comes. The website project that should have been complete in 2 weeks usually takes more than 8 months to complete only because of content. I thought this was an India problem, but I have done business in so many countries and this again is a global problem. Every country has very degree of this problem. More advanced countries, Western countries are more kind of aware about the content issue as compared to other developing countries. But yes, it is a global problem. And 20 out of 20 people want to change the design of the website after once they have confirmed the design to the provider, right? So I have a little piece of advice that says